new patch notes incoming from the pre-patch podcast. Make sure to check them out. Bill, I want to talk to you.
I was about to say, we're just gonna go silent for 15 minutes. Is that?
Bill, I want to talk to you. So
okay, what are we talking about, bud?
All right, chat. So if you're unfamiliar with what's about to happen, okay, on last week's episode, I talked about Elden Ring DLC. Well, we talked about Elden Ring DLC. Myself, Enigma, and Scruffy. Bill, unfortunately, was not able to make the last week's show, and he is here now.
Let's make a designation really quick. Let's a distinction right now. Myself and Scruffy talked about Elden Ring. You gave a really bad take. And continued to.
Nope. No. So Bill knows what the talking point is. I'm going to bring it back up. So that we can talk about it. And obviously I have inflamed the internet and all of the Elden Ring fanboys and girls and people. Completely fine. I know my place in this world. But the take was that basically Elden Ring is gatekeeping their DLC because they are locking it behind an optional boss that only
2 optional bosses.
Okay. Oh, fucking great. Even better. 2 fucking optional bosses that only 37% of the player base has actually completed. Now, I don't know what the current number is right now, but as of that last week's show and that article that we got, the statistics were that 37% of the player base had not, only 37% had completed the optional bosses needed to access the DLC. I don't know fucking how you tell me that this is not gatekeeping the fucking DLC.
I mean, it's
have fun, Bill.
The way I see it, and I think the way a lot of the internet is seeing it, is if you're buying the DLC to play more Elden Ring, you're not going to complain about playing more Elden Ring. I think that if you have no interest on playing the DLC, then you probably either didn't enjoy the game for one, or you enjoyed it enough to get through it and then you moved on. I feel like having the nature of DLC in general is to give people, give the ones that enjoyed your product the most the next step, the big push, give them more of what they are seeking and potentially give them better than what the base game had. That being said, this isn't the first time that From Software specifically has done something obscure and off the beaten path that isn't story progression to access a DLC. So it being an optional boss, I don't think is either here or there for the people that are wanting to play the DLC. And if for some reason they're wanting to buy the DLC and they haven't beaten Mohg or Radahn, this gives them a reason to do so. They're obviously, if they purchase this DLC, are wanting more content. So if this is content that they missed to access said DLC, they're probably happy about it because they wanted more Elden Ring to begin with. I just cannot see somebody complaining about getting more Elden Ring to unlock more Elden Ring.
He's right down there. He's wherever it's at. I don't know where I'm at on the screen, but he's right over there.
So, okay,
that is my take.
So I will say that I understand. Like, you're absolutely right. People will buy DLCs because they enjoyed playing like the game. Most people will not just go be like, oh, I want to be in the zeitgeist of what's going on and the feverish of what's going on. Even though I will say that I think a lot of people do that nowadays, especially with like live streamers and being like, oh my God, this looks like so much fun. Like, let me go pick it up, whatever else. Right. And they go and they buy the DLC. But I will say, yes, I think that most people will buy the DLC because they enjoyed playing Elden Ring. And they're like, okay, cool. I want more Elden Ring. And it's something, again, that, oh my God, like, it's launching right now. Like, let me go pick it up. Right. Don't disagree there. right? But my
Right.
problem,
Yes, you do. You literally disagreed with that same take last week when I said
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I said that.
Yes, you did.
We're up to 40% by the way on Mohg.
I've never. Thank God, 40%. It's gone up 3%. Holy shit. So what I'm saying though is that, and I actually know someone that bought the DLC because they liked Elden Ring, they enjoyed Elden Ring, and they're like, cool, I want to go jump into this new stuff of like the new Elden Ring content, right? And they bought the DLC, and they're like, how the fuck do I access it? And then they went online and they saw, so I have to go defeat this other boss, right? And then went to go defeat the other boss and returned it because they're like, and again, I'm not saying that they are a fucking, like, all of the, like, and I think what this is where it doesn't make me mad, but I think it's laughable to sit here and be like, oh, well, if you're not a man enough or a good enough player to defeat this person, then you're not even going to survive the DLC. That's not my argument. That's not my point. My point of it is that why do you make something that somebody would have, and again, I guarantee that this person is not alone.
Did that person finish the game?
Did they finish the original Elden Ring? I know so I will eat crow on the fact that I said Melania was the final boss or whatever else. Like, that is just a name that I've heard the most, Melania or whatever else. And I have never once said that I'm a fucking Elden Ring master or a lore, or I know the fucking game backward and forward. But they beat whoever I know they beat Melania, and they've beaten whoever, like, the last boss, I guess, of Elden Ring is. Sure, Radahn. They've beaten that, but they have never beaten this other person. And the argument to be like, oh, well, if you've beaten Melania and you've beaten Radahn, you should easily be able to beat this person. I'm not saying that's not the truth, but I'm just saying this person who bought the game ready to go in because they were like, cool, I beat the final boss, I beat the game, right? Or whatever else. I saw a credit roll or however it works, was like ready to go into the fucking game, and then they bought it and they're like, no, I'm gonna fucking return it because I can't play it. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
But they can, they just didn't want to.
They can, they just didn't want to. Yeah, they can 100% play it.
Again,
they just chose not to.
This goes back to what I was saying.
Refresh your camera, by the way, real quick. Sorry, your camera's frozen.
Is it frozen?
Yeah.
This goes back to what I was saying though. With you bought the Elden Ring DLC for more Elden Ring, and then you returned it because they're forcing you to play more Elden Ring.
But it's not because they're. What I'm saying is, it's not because they're forcing. It's because they are telling, like, they don't. This is not a person that, like, scours the internet. This is not a person that, like, and again, sure, like, and that's where my problem is with all of the comments that are like, oh, fucking Google it. Oh, fucking do this. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. We all live with a phone attached to our hip. I could chat GBT fucking anything and everything I want, right?
You can.
But what I am saying is that if you're literally taking money and going, bye, I don't fucking want your $40 because this person, whoever it may be, can't go figure out that they want to go.
You want to know something worse than this? The Dark Souls 1 DLC, A Tourist to the Abyss. To access that, you had to kill a random, not even boss, just a random, like, one-off elite enemy in a random location. And then after that, you had to kill just a random enemy later in one of the endgame dungeons and pick up a talisman that nowhere in its item description explained what. And this was available, I'm pretty sure, before the DLC came out. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. And then after you did all of that, you then go to a cave that was behind that one elite enemy, and there's a portal there now.
Yeah. By the way, chat.
I'm not trying to say that that's right, but nobody complained about that, and that's probably the most obscure way to access a DLC that I've personally ever seen.
Yeah. By the way, we may lose Enigma. I don't know. He's like, Bill, you're seeing him like join in and out, right? Yeah, his Discord's fucked.
He just said that his internet's probably going out. So if we lose Enigma,
okay, we may lose Enigma, but okay, I don't know. But if you can't join, just stay like this so it doesn't fuck up the cameras. Well, so
that's my take on it.
But that's not why is that acceptable? Why is that the accept? Like, I just don't understand. Like, to say,
so
well, that's just from software.
What were you? Well, it's not even just what From Software is. There's plenty of other RPGs that have progression access to their DLCs, or you need to get to a certain point, or you have to unlock a certain area to get access to the DLC.
I mean, like, it's not like, you look at World of
What
Warcraft.
what would you want?
So okay, I'm not.
I think the most straightforward one we had was Dark Souls 3's access to the DLC, where the first one you had like you found this NPC in one of the areas, and it's a fairly early area in the game, and he pulls you into the DLC.
Right.
And then the second DLC that they came out, you can either access through the end of that first DLC or the very end of the game.
Hey, Enigma's back.
Am I good? Fucking Discord's just like Discord was like, no, you're talking like shit. Go away.
They kicked out one of the Elden Ring believers, not the fucking one that was saying wrong. So I'm not against saying that you have to get to a certain point in a DLC or a game to progress to a DLC. Every MMO ever has done that for expansions, right? Of going, hey, we got to get to, you got to get to level 60, right? But it's like a very understandable thing of like, you got to get to level 60.
So it's the obscurity of it it's the obscurity, bothering you, but more so than it being an optional boss.
Well, it's the obscurity plus the optional boss just kind of makes it like, why are you doing it this way? Like, why can you not be like, hey, you need to have beaten like I wonder how many people have beaten Godfrey, right? What is it? Godfrey, right? That's his name, right? One of the very first.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have already talked about it, right? Like I understand. I kind of understand where you're coming from with it being an optional boss, right? But at the same time,
two
like
optional bosses.
It's not like the boss, the blood, whatever, Mohg, the blood lord or whatever it is. I can't remember his name, Mogog or whatever. Mohg, the blood lord or whatever. He is directly tied to the DLC.
Sure, that's fine. Like, okay.
So like not having you fucking fight him would be like you're not getting one portion of the entire DLC, I would assume, right?
I mean, so I can go down the route which I'm going to inflame the shit out of people by saying, why the fuck write your DLC based off an optional fucking boss that only 30, like, it's not like we're the only people that all of a sudden discovered we had 37% of the people hadn't done it. You have the data knowing that 37% of people are the only people that did it. That 64% of the
what does the 37% of the population doing it have to do with anything?
Why would you?
I'm pretty sure the DLC's story was already planned, like when Elden Ring came out, because the access to the DLC was something that has been there since launch. Like the thing that you're going to interact with to access the DLC has been there since launch.
Let me ask this, so that because this is going to circle to this. When you
we might get into spoiler territory here, guys, so just bear with us on that.
I've not played the DLC.
I meant like for DLC.
Okay.
So when you boot the game up, when you boot up Elden Ring and this DLC, or I guess Elden Ring, because you don't boot up the DLC, you just boot up Elden Ring. Is there a fucking portal or something that tells you, go here to fight this person to get access to the game, to the DLC, to get to this place? Does that exist?
I do not know. I can boot it up right now and we can test it live if you want.
I don't think it does, because I was watching some streamers try it today, and I am almost 100% sure, could be wrong, right?
I mean, I don't figure it does either, because they've never had that be a thing.
Like, all of this stuff of being like, you again, I'm fine with it if you want to make it this fucking optional boss, right? I'm not gonna tell you rewrite your fucking story if you've already had it. Like, you're saying, oh, cool, it was pre-planned. All right, cool. You've already had the pre-planned fucking story of how you want to do it, right? Then give people an easier way to get to that boss, to say, hey, by the way, big flashing fucking letters, big right now, because if it wasn't for the internet, if it wasn't for people finding this out, right?
They would have to play the game. Oh my God. It's
not that they would have to play the game.
You're going to make me play the game in order to get to the DLC?
64% wouldn't know what to do. That's what I'm saying. 64% of the people wouldn't know what to do.
They announced it at press conferences.
So,
and
Okay.
and all of that.
What happens again if someone doesn't follow the press
This has
conference?
been knowledge on how to access the DLC since the 11th of this month.
Right, but what? So okay, they wait till 9 days before the game comes out to tell you that, hey, the 64% of you that have not beaten these bosses that need to do this, you're not going to be able to play the DLC 9 days before the game comes out.
No, they're
not going to be able to do it.
They're releasing a statement 9 days before the game comes out. Hey, the 64% of you that haven't completed this achievement, take the next 6 days and play the game so you can fucking play the Elden Ring DLC.
That is a fucked up way of doing it. Like, that's a fucked up way to tell people that, like, hey,
what?
If you want to, like, guess what? 100%. I'm telling you right now, if this game would, if I would have
World of Warcraft, when they bring in the expansion out on the PTR, they give people the requirements that they're going to need for the next expansion. They say, hey, by the way, you're going to need to get to level 90. Hey, by the way, you're probably going to want to do this achievement. Hey, by the way, you're probably going to want to do this achievement. They shouldn't be doing that. They should just be like, hey, you should just let. Well, and granted, I will state that, you know, World of Warcraft gives you the ability just to pay money and you're all instantly in the fucking.
They don't lock you, but they tell you got to get to a certain. You have to get to a certain level that unlocks the quest line, and boom, right, big ass fucking letters. Right there's your quest line. Go do this. Go do that. Here you go. Right. Like, and again, I'm not saying that Elden Ring should fucking hold your hand. I'm just saying that I think that people are so encapsulated in this game and in the fandom of what this is to sit down and go, all right, hold on 1 second. 64% of my player base hasn't done this stuff. If these people did not follow, like, you know, sit there and follow, and again, I know it's crazy to say, but didn't look on their phone, doesn't go to gaming sites, don't listen to our podcast, don't fucking do this stuff, right? And they just play Elden Ring because they like Elden Ring, right? They're not going to fucking know why they can't get into the DLC. And this isn't a hypothetical. I know fucking people that this happened to, and they returned the fucking game. They've dumped 200 fucking hours into Elden Ring, but they couldn't access the DLC. Call them a dumbass. I don't give a shit if that's what you want to do, because I've gotten called a dumbass in chat by a bunch of these people, and I'm okay with it. But call them a dumbass. They returned the fucking game. They spent 200 hours.
That's the prerogative.
That's entirely up to them. Yeah.
But why? What I don't understand is, why is it so such a flawed logic to sit here and go, maybe, just maybe, this wasn't right?
I also don't think it's an Elden Ring. Again, this isn't just a specific Elden Ring issue. This has been, at least with From Software games, it's been their philosophy for all of their DLCs to have access either be press released or figured out by players. Like, hell, the Bloodborne DLC, you had to go to a random enemy in the game that is invisible and let it kill you to access the DLC.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
But this is the first time we're having an issue with it because it's Elden Ring.
I didn't know that. I mean, this is the first, because this is the first time that I, like, knowing that now, like, yeah, that's fucking insane. I don't understand why from now. I thought Bill was frozen. I was like, what the hell is going on?
No.
I don't know why this is an acceptable thing. Like, that just, to me, is ridiculous to think that. And again, I'll tell you another person. I have not beaten any of those bosses, and prior to this, right, I was gonna buy the game. Like, I was ready to fucking purchase it. Like, I literally had it, was gonna have it in my cart, was gonna do what to play the game, whatever else. Finding this out, I don't want to play it. And yeah, go ahead and flame me in the chats and being like, well, you're not even man enough, or you're not good enough, or whatever else to even fucking play the DLC. I'm repeating what was in chat. I'm just repeating, not chat here. And in some of the comments, right? Being like, oh, if you can't do it, you're not good enough, whatever else. You know, I'm just responding to saying like, hey, like, call it what it is, but that's still $40 that your company that you guys did not get, because I'm not going to pay for it. And yeah, I got a free key because of my work, right? But I was willing to pay for that, and I'm not going to, because I think it's bullshit. Like, that's crazy to me. I know other people that have refunded the game because of that. Like, so my logic may be flawed in your eyes, but in my eyes and other people's and some other people's, it's not. Like, that's the joys of the internet. You guys can do what you want and believe what you want, and so can I. I just think it's crazy to me. That makes sense.
All right, man.
You do you, bro.
Yeah, I don't know.
I really don't know what to tell you at this point, man.
The whole
like,
argument at this point, it feels like just I don't know.
The thing is like I really didn't like I and I'm take this as nicely as possible. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I really don't see you going through Elden Ring, the entirety of Elden Ring, just to play that DLC either way, regardless if it was an optional boss.
I mean, that's
Sorry.
fine. You also didn't think I was going to enjoy Star Citizen, but I am. Right? Like, I mean, I'm
just stating the fact that you've had how long now to play Elden Ring?
You're
I
right.
really didn't see you playing Elden Ring
But
that
there
much.
was, but
like,
also
I really
just
don't.
like other people in the comments too that have said like, hey, like I played Elden Ring, like I had fun with it or whatever else.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
I mean,
I stopped playing
there's
it.
People out there
that
have not enjoyed Elden Ring.
Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that didn't enjoy it. Like they enjoyed it, they left it, they came back to it, and then they just were like, I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to have to do this to kind of get back into it. Like
That's entirely within your prerogative.
So it's just I don't know. And it wasn't because I rage quit because I couldn't do anything. I just stopped playing it because I was like, okay, there's other things out that I want to play.
I
right.
Never said that it was. I was just stating the fact that like the fact of the matter is I really don't see you playing Elden Ring enough to get into the DLC. So it would have been a terrible purchase.
You're trying to go me into playing the damn the game so I play the DLC. I know what you're trying to do.
You caught me.
You're from software. Mind tricks can't affect me.
I will say that as of right now, the DLC, and again, I'm not trying to invalidate you. I'm just going off of community opinion right now.
Overwhelmingly positive reviews.
It is very positive right now with the
very
Steam
positive
views. Very positive.
So it's
at a 94%.
How many reviews are on there?
Almost 3,000.
Because it was overwhelmingly positive with just under 1,000 reviews. A couple hours.
So, and I've been going through the negative reviews and stuff, and the negative reviews seem to be either people that didn't enjoy the base game and were hoping that they would fix some of the mechanics from the base game, which they didn't. And there are some issues with its optimization as far as the DLC areas. I guess it's got a stutter right now. So the only thing that I've seen as far as DLC access goes is people saying that they have completed both optional bosses and are not able to access the DLC for whatever reason. So
interesting.
That is the only thing access-wise that I am seeing on the negatives. I have yet to see one person down thumb it because they didn't know where to go and how to access the DLC. This very well just may be a first world problem with this kind of thing. I genuinely don't see it being an issue. That being said, I have had issues with this design philosophy in other games. So I am a little bit biased with this particular game. Remnant 2, for instance, there are a ton of things in that game that are so goddamn obscure that if you didn't look them up, you would never know how to access them. Added on top of the RNG element of that game, it was frustrating for me. So I get that. There is no RNG involved in this. And if you enjoyed Elden Ring for what it was, you've probably already looked up all like the things you missed because there is a ton of stuff that you potentially missed. So I'm thinking for the people that are most likely going to buy this DLC, this is a non-issue.
I mean, I'm happy for you. I hope the DLC is great. I hope you love it. I'm not ill-willing the DLC. I'm not saying that the DLC itself, content-wise, is bad or that Elden Ring is bad. I will state, like, I don't like the nature of going and saying that, oh, that it wasn't because I am disagreeing with something, and it's not you guys, and here, like Bill or Enigma, but by saying like, oh, because I am disagreeing with your game, that it's not my type of game. I dumped 60 plus hours and enjoyed every moment of my time with Elden Ring, right? It's not because I couldn't beat it or I'm not good enough to beat it or I don't like the game. I don't like that practice. I don't think that is a good practice to have in a DLC, right? Like, so it's not that I don't like the game or whatever else. It's just, I don't like the practice of it. And I don't want to support that. And that's my choice, just like it's your choice to play it. I am interested in how many of those 70, or I guess now it's 60%, you said 40% have beaten it. How many of those 60% of the people that purchased Elden Ring actually purchase a DLC. I'd like to know those numbers, because that's what's going to be telling to me, is to see how many of those people that purchased it actually are not able to play it. Because to say that all 70% or 60% of the people are not going to be able to play it is not true. Like, that's not factual, right? Because not everybody that bought the game is going to buy the DLC.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I wanted to have this point. I wanted to have this moment. We had the moment. I appreciate you. Thank you for placating me, and we can move on.
I got you, bud.
So
I don't think you've actually been placated at all.
I have in my mind. In my mind, I have. I love all the negative comments or whatever else. I have said it in the very beginning. I know what my point is on this show, and I play the villain. I know the villain role, and I'm happy to be the villain if so be it. And I need to be. All right. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the patch notes. And if you want to join us live, we stream every single Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube, as well as on Twitch. Also, if you miss the show, you can always catch us at anchor.fm/prepatch podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the show.